Hello. My channel with a lot of topics is not about topics. It's about how women survive. My dog helped me. It's about how women survive, adapt, and build a good life through each changing season. As a woman who's lived through tremendous loss, raised children, made mistakes, learned to live frugally, and learn to care for herself and others, sharing this is what helped me. Good morning. Today's video is on intentional living, and I was gonna put this video together and save it for another time, and I just thought, why save it? I'm living intentionally today, and I need to share that with you. One of the ways I live intentionally is to enjoy my weekends. I am a full-time teacher, and being a teacher requires a lot of emotional, intellectual, and physical energy. And one of the ways I live intentionally is to self-care on the weekends and to prepare for the week ahead and long-range planning. So I spend some time on short, medium, and long-term goals. We could use the term, but at first it was just practice, and now it's become a habit. And I'd like to share with you some of the ways that I live intentionally. One way is, we've all heard of a bucket list, right? Things we want to do before we die, or big dreams that we never thought we'd be able to do in our life. For me, I have those bucket lists wish, and I have learned that for me, that's not a bucket list wish as it is for some people. I find a way to do them. And for me, a bucket list is a fun way to do a to-do list. So I'm old school. I like to write. When I put things in my notes in my phone, it just seems like they're somewhere else. They're not in my face. And when my hand and a pen is involved, I can be more intentional. And for me, I like the feel good of crossing off a list. So this was my this weekend to-do list, my bucket list. And I can cross this off because I did that yesterday and last night. And filling up that bucket feels so good to me. You can see I did clean my house yesterday, but I did leave mop because my grandbaby was with me. And we all know how toddlers are. They can leave a little extra mess. And I don't want to spend time when I'm spending time with her cleaning up a mess. So though I did dust and vacuum and clean the tables and whatnot before she came, I'm going to wait to mop that floor. If you have grandchildren or small children, you know what I'm talking about. So these are other things that I intend to do over the rest of this weekend. And when I get one done, the buckets are separate categories. That helps me stay more intentional. Like this bucket was to do with cleaning the house. And you see I still have mop. These are other things. This is like some office things, some paperwork planning. So I have different categories for different buckets, and I love to fill up the buckets. I'm definitely very goal-oriented and motivated on reaching goals. So one thing, before I can do this bucket, I need to do this bucket. I've recently purchased some new file folders, and I have moved a lot and have purchased and sold some properties, and through many moves and storage, things just got piled upon, piled upon, piled upon, and I don't like the feeling of disorganization, though paperwork comes nothing close to naturally for me. Maybe you can relate. There's some of us out there that love to organize and file, and it's pure torture for me. But I've learned that if I don't take care of those little details, too many balls fall that I can't catch, and I just spend some time doing things I don't enjoy doing because it makes the rest of my life flow a lot better. So how I have an intentional morning is occasionally I will sleep in my favorite nightgown. This is a nightgown that my daughter bought for me. My mom would wear nightgowns like this, like house robes, she would call them, or house dresses. And she would go and sit on her back porch and have coffee in the morning. And when my daughter became a mom, for the following Christmas, she got me this nightgown, and I'll call it a house coat for my mother. She said, now that you're a Grammy, excuse me, now that you're a Grammy, you should have Grammy PJs. And I went, okay. So for me, weekends, I like to start very slow and let the week wash over me. And sometimes I have to put what's on my bucket list for the following weekend. Sometimes I get more done. Sometimes I crumble up that page and start a new bucket list. So I know it sounds silly, but it helps me stay positive. It helps me stay focused. It helps me feel accomplished when I look at my desk and see a huge stack of papers that aren't even in categories. So if any of that resonates with you, that's how I like to plan my day. That's how I like to start. So I hope keeping a bucket list is something that is helpful for you and something you think you might want to try. And maybe in a day, at the end of the day, you can rest and say, I'm proud of myself. I got a lot done and it feels good. So now that I've started slow and enjoyed a nice morning hot beverage from a cup that my mom used to drink out of when I was growing up, I'm going to share with you. This was definitely not part of my plan, but my goal is to be real. I'm going to show you my messy desk and what I have hanging over me, and I will embarrassingly tell you it went from that high to that high, but I'm just keeping it real. I'm going to show you one of the things I attempt to get at today, because I'm doing something I don't want to do, and I alternate them with some things I actually do want to do, because it helps me stay motivated. And while I'm in the office, I'm going to share briefly with you how I do some goal setting. And I think what's most important to share with you, it's not about finishing, it's about starting. And I'm not suggesting in any way that you have a bunch of unfinished projects. Some days that bucket list is finish this project, and finish that project. So I'm going to share with you briefly how I do short, medium, and long-term planning. Okay. Now I'm going to very quickly show you my messy desk and what's ahead of me. My new file folders, filing drawers, desk, and a future project of electronics, old digital films, and whatnot that need organizing and packing away. And as a person with ADD, planning is very much a struggle for me. So teaching has helped me. I plan out my entire school year in advance and what I'm teaching which day. And I've learned to do that for myself at home. And then I summarize some things and color code it at the bottom. And this really helps me to stay focused. Sharing my story. I want to encourage you to share your story. Find somebody who'll listen, not judge, and let you share. You see, I've lost people I've loved deeply. I've cared for elders. I walked through grief, a grief so dark that just changes you forever. And during these seasons of very dark times, I learned that survival can look both very impractical and practical. I've done some crazy things, and going to the wilderness is one of them. And I'm going to share a clip at the end of each video, a bit of my wilderness adventures that really helped me. That's the impractical, but it helped. And now I'm going to share some of the practical that helped. If you're going through hard times and you're asking yourself, how do I feed my children? How do I afford to feed my children? How do I find the time to feed my children? How do I feed my parents? My parents as they're aging, how do I get them to eat some meals as their tastes are changing? They're not in the mood for anything. Meals get smaller. How do you do this? How do you live with less money and less help if you're trying to raise children? You might be working multiple jobs. How do you take care of yourself each day? When you have to go to work, what do you eat for lunch? What are you putting in your body, right? How do I take care of myself as I age? How do I remember that life is worth living? Some of these future things that you hear me speak about were my compass that helped tremendously feed my children, feed myself, and be able to afford to do that on a budget. I don't cook every day. I never did. But my freezer works for me, and it always has. I don't need a deep freezer now as a single older woman, but there was a time I needed a deep freezer, and I'm about to share some secrets with you that help save me time, money, stress, and it doesn't require any fancy cooking. I think of my freezer as a pantry. Yeah, as a pantry, not a forgotten graveyard of leftover forgotten food. And so now I'm going to share with you a book, some ideas, and some things that might help you. All right, I'm not here to promote anybody, anything except positive hope, inspiration, and ideas. So this is probably backwards, but it's called Dinners in the Freezer. It's by Jill Bond. This book was helpful for me when my children were really young. I read through this book and I would make food for a month. Yes, I saved and got a deep freezer. This book has taught me, you'll see I've highlighted and made a whole bunch of notes. I learned about proper storage, learned about plastic and what's food safe and what's not food safe. This book gave me some amazing ideas, and I'm going to share those with you now. Again, if you're interested, it's called Dinners in the Freezer. It's by Jill Bond. But this box, not promoting products again at all, but as you'll see, I cut the top off. And the reason I do this is I save boxes, cracker boxes, whatever you might have, so that I could put a gallon food safe Ziploc bag, fold the edges over, so if I made a big pot of soup, once it cooled down, I could pour that into the plastic. And the next tip is put it in the refrigerator before you put it in the freezer. You can hear my refrigerator's talking to me right now. When I first moved here, my dog would bark at the refrigerator. I think he thought there were like sandhill cranes or something out there. But anyway, this little box, will help your food stand up on the counter. It helps you not spill anything. And what's really nice is you can put it in the freezer, and that way your food stacks nicely. So if you make a soup or you make larger quantities, it's nice to save different size boxes, but everything fits nicely into your freezer and stacks nicely and never goes in between the little grates, and you can't get it out without thawing it out. So this is one tip that I got from the book, and now I have cubes of food that I can take out if multiple people are coming over or smaller portions. I also would take my lunch containers and I would put the proper plastic food safe bags in my lunch size container, and then I would put it in the freezer. Make sure you don't fill it up too full, because frozen food will expand, and you can put it in a little soup container, freeze it in that, take it out of the container and stack those up. That way, when you're packing your lunch, you don't even need an ice pack. By your lunchtime, it's defrosted, and if it's something you can eat cold, you can eat it cold or reheat it. But those are just some tips. Boxes, food safe plastic bags, and store things up where it makes sense in your freezer. One other tip that I learned in the book is to keep a list. Keep a list. You can keep it on your refrigerator. You can handwrite it. I like to use my little dry erase board because I put and label and date everything as I put it in the freezer. I work from one side to the other to make sure that I'm always recycling and using what I put in a long time ago. You know, could be several months. I'll take those foods out first. It's also nice when you make a big volume of food and you can not feel like you're eating the same thing every day. So that worked for me. Then when I take it out of the freezer, I cross it off. That way I always know what's in my freezer and when it's time to do a big meal prep or a big meal plan again. So final tips. The book that helped me, dinner's in the freezer. What helps me, boxes and food safe plastic so that I can store my food, take it out of the boxes and it fit nicely in my freezer. The next tip that helped me was to use my lunch containers and put food safe plastic in there, put my food in there, take my containers out and have nice stacked food that fit nicely into my lunch pack. I don't need ice packs, and it would be thawed out by lunchtime. And another thing that helped me was keeping my list and crossing it off when I took it out. That way I always know when I'm getting low, it's time for another meal prep day. It's a way to wash dishes one time, make several different recipes. And one of the future videos I'm going to make for you is how I do a bone broth. Occasionally I'll cook a great big turkey and I'll share with you how I make bone broth. And when I can splurge, I buy organic turkey, and I'll share that all in another video. And I sincerely hope that you got something out of this that helped me. And one thing that would give me great joy is to know that some of the hard times that I walk through and some things that I've learned, if it makes your life a little bit easier, my heart will be so happy. So please share. I have learned one thing in life: when you share, it's crazy how much it fills you up. And you often get better ideas, more resources, and share again. So I hope that this video has brought you a little bit of joy, some ideas, and hope for your future. When I couldn't breathe, I went to the wilderness, and eventually I could breathe again. Nature doesn't fix grief, but it will remind you that life continues. I spent an enormous amount of time outside, not to escape life, but to re-enter it. I hope that this video brings you peace and hope for your future.